Saints. The sinners? The singers? Ann and Caroline.
We got Saints here.
Yeah, oh, we do?
We just always want more.
Yeah.
We're
We're all saints. Some way or another.
Anyway, I guess we will run through them. And then we'll walk through these. So John is going to let you know if that's possible. Until he does. Well, he'll let me know when it's working. But at this point, you can consider that I'm on.
Good morning. I think we're going to start the service, if everyone would like to come in. Thank you, Kat. That was a beautiful way to start our service. Thank you so much.
And that was Claire de Lune. I just thought you ought to be treated to Kat's talents all by herself.
Good morning. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stewart. Today is August 1st, 2021. My name is Regina Wood, and I will be your worship associate today. For those who are here in the sanctuary, we ask you to please be as quiet as possible, except when you're singing through your mask, so your voice isn't on YouTube. We're also on YouTube, so for the people who can't be here today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, races, and ages and backgrounds. It is wonderful to see all of our vaccinated members in the sanctuary. For those who are not here, we are on YouTube. We are on YouTube too. To be put on our email list or to find out more information about us, go to our website at tcuuc.org. You can get on a newsletter, and the newsletter comes out every Friday, and it has all information about us. We want a big thanks to those who have helped with the service, Jackie Robbins and Catherine Villano for the music, and we have designated singers who will be singing, as well as greeters and ushers. And we want a special thanks to our host, our tech host, Karina Polani, and our tech wizard, Chris McGann. And a lot goes on behind the scenes that we don't see, and these people have just done a wonderful job, so we want to thank them very much. We thank the people who bought water, and we want to remind you that we have a brown bag luncheon at the Memorial Park, and it's going to be this Tuesday, and it's for people who are vaccinated to go. All right, at this point, Bob will light the chalice. Try different matches. Yeah, there is. As the chalice is lit, let us come together into the sacred place we have created. Let the cares of the day fall away, and know that there is a place here, that here is a place for quiet reflection, for pause in our lives, and for breathing into our true selves. Let what is said here and felt here add richness to the dimensions of our lives and spiritual practices. We are strong together in community. We share the experience of being human. Let the warmth of the chalice lit during our time together connect us and carry us into the world. Now we will have our opening words. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. These have been very difficult times, but may we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. And now will the designated singers come forward?
Did you give us a tempo, please? Tempo. I don't know this tenor, so I need to know.
This will be
Quick.
346, Come Sing a Song.
Sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. And the world will be and I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and roses in the winter time. Come drink the rain with me. Come drink the rain with me. Come drink the rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come rain with me. Come rain with me. And I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home
comes in the winter time.
And now we will do the affirmation. Yeah, if the choir could come up again. Sorry about that. Okay, let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope and love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung from every lip by every tongue. Amen.
Thank you, Ann and Carolyn. And now Bob will do the responsive reading. The responses will be on the wall.
You all remember responsive readings, right? It has been a while. But I think the way it works is I read a line, then you read a line. Let's see if I can follow that instruction. This is a beautiful thing from the back of our hymnal, of course. To laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To reach out for another is to risk exposing our true self. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To try is to risk failure. And now our joys and sorrows. I've got a series of instructions to follow, but you've heard about men and directions. So our worship leaders have a lot of faith. Anyhow, let's share our joys and sorrows. Please step up to the microphone to speak, to tell us your name first, tell us your personal joy or sorrow, and then move a stone in our symbolic river to mark each joy and sorrow. I'll begin by telling you one that I got in the email. It's surely a joy. Jack and Marge Cassidy want to share with us that they celebrated their 64th anniversary this past week. 64. And each of them served as board president here for a while. And their marriage survived that. So we certainly celebrate with them and want them to just keep a good thing going. Jack and Marge. Now, will others come to the mic?
Jack first. Great sorrow. One of my good friends, longtime Missouri, my age, Robert Brown, it's hard on us. Number one, he's incredible at this age. When this is March, he really works his body to death. We were on his practice, and as one of those odd little things that tie our lives together, when Flo and I moved from the Missouri Ozarks, north to near Columbia, we wanted a rural property, and our realtor showed us a geodesic zone We really liked it. The realtor was standing there. He couldn't believe we liked this weird house. But as it turned out, it was really too far away from them. But because we liked this weird house, he found us another weird house. Not quite as unusual as we did up at Dome, but God has brought us to that house. Just a small little kiosk. He was a great reader, a great thinker. Jim Linder was here visiting us. In listening to him a couple years ago. He's
Anyone else?
I have a sorrow. I have a friend who's a pastor in an all Spanish speaking church, and I befriended him some years ago. He works as a maintenance man in the condo I live in, and he has contracted COVID and has been in the hospital for a while and is, on a respirator. And I'm just praying for him and his family. But he was always leaving any meeting with anybody with "God bless you," and so I'm sure that whatever happens, he's going to be with his Savior. So I'm not that worried about him, but it's making me sad because he's got a family, and I'm just hoping that people will be conscious of taking care and being respectful of the people and wear their masks. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? We know there are always those we feel deeply, but we don't want to speak out loud about. So for any feelings like that we're sharing this morning, Regina will move a stone. For a meditation, this is from the back of the hymnal. It's called The Journey of Love. Am I talking too close to the mic? Are you getting feedback?
I think their volume is just a little hot because all the mics are feeding.
Okay, I'll just keep going. It's by a Muslim author, Muhammad Iqbal, called The Journey of Love. Where in our hearts is that burning of desire? It is true that we are made of dust, and the world is also made of dust. But the dust has motes rising. Whence comes that drive in us? We look to the starry sky and love storms in our hearts. Whence comes that storm? The journey of love is a very long journey, but sometimes with a sigh, you can cross that vast desert. Search and search again without losing hope. You may find sometime a treasure on your way. My heart and my eyes are all devoted to the vision. Muhammad Iqbal. Moments of silence. And now Spirit of Life, 123. Led by our choir, we will hum a verse and then sing a verse.
Spirit of Lord, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Renew in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the heart, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of light, come to me, come to me.
The offering plate represents the generosity of those who have been here before and wanted a future for us. And what we give represents our generosity and what we want others to have in the future. We bless these plates in the hope that they do what we want them to do and what the future needs them to do. I just want to say, obviously, we're learning as we go, and there's much to learn. I've learned today that it's hard to light this flame. But a minister's supposed to be able to light a flame. So I just have to keep trying and trying harder. And now I have to know what the tempo is. I'll work on that. I'm going to be calling you, Jackie, and singing to you. How do you like that?
That would be lovely.
No problem. There are some things easily fixed. Then there are other things. Hold that thought. Have any of you ever been to Grossinger's in the Catskills? Grossinger's. It has been gone for some time. It had a day as a prominent, largely Jewish resort. In its downtimes, like over the winter, it offered great deals to denominations to hold retreats there, clergy retreats. Guest speakers with names that drew a crowd were on the program. Many of us went because in winter, we couldn't exactly afford the Caribbean. One speaker I'll never forget was the Reverend William Sloane Coffin, Yale chaplain and activist extraordinaire. He had been born to privilege, but heard the Judeo-Christian call to prophetic ministry, truth to power, and advocated for civil rights, anti-war from Vietnam to Iraq, and early promoted gay rights. He said something at Grossinger's in the retreat I attended that pretty well defined religion, God, and life for me. But before that, the only personal story I know about him, I heard somewhere. While in seminary, he met, wooed, and eventually married Eva Rubinstein, the daughter of the great pianist Artur Rubinstein. So he had to be taken home to meet the parents. At the introduction, the great pianist said to him, "I didn't expect my daughter to bring home a Billy Graham." To which he responded, "I didn't expect to fall in love with the daughter of Liberace." He had a silver tongue and I guess a sharp tongue. So at the resort, I forgot the topic, but not this, William Sloane Coffin. God provides minimum protection, maximum support. Support to help us grow up, to stretch our minds and hearts until they are as wide as God's universe. I know that may be a bit much God talk for some, but that's what he said. The absolutely indelible and guiding part for me is minimum protection, maximum support. So religion isn't about protection, someone to watch over me. Didn't religion start out as protection? According to Karen Armstrong, historian of religion, primitive belief was in sky gods for protection from what came from the sky, or what was withheld and needed and became a life or death issue if it didn't. I wouldn't call our beloved Fred primitive, but once in the other sanctuary, he asked me if I could do a rain dance. It was all about protection to start. My mother, who wasn't at all religious, taught us a bedtime prayer. "Now I lay me down to sleep, if I should die before I wake." Literally, it's not protection. I guess it was supposed to be calming, so we would drift off. Religion historically was all about protection. From ancient and medieval times, that was what I learned, the suzerainty model, suzerain. The greater power offers protection. The masses, aka the underprivileged, the unpropertied, plebeians, give their loyalty and dues and taxes, and too often their lives, in protecting the greater power, the privileged. Religion started out tribal, and God help everybody else. Christianity today has to shed the totally tribal, white nationalist, white supremacist God. Everybody outside that tribe and the American way of life, liberty, and justice for all, a dream until a reality, everybody outside that tribe is endangered by it. I was happy to read in an op-ed piece recently that the number of white evangelical Christians in America is falling. A little bit of me is sad, in a way, sad to be happy to read that, because I have known many large-hearted and open-minded evangelical Christian people. But today it's all too clear the scare about tribal religion and the suzerain fealty loyalty business has surely run amok for too many. I was interested to read the op-ed piece this week by Ben and Jerry, two Jewish ice cream makers who are opposing sale of their ice cream in the occupied territories of Israel. It was entitled, "We're Ben and Jerry, Men of Ice Cream, Men of Principle." I don't think I've ever eaten Ben and Jerry's, because the only designer ice cream I ever tell myself I need is rum raisin. And far be it from me to promote another ice cream brand. But if you tell me later that Ben & Jerry's makes that flavor. Anyhow, these two Jewish businessmen and lovers of Israel are protesting the Israeli government's treatment of non-Israelis in their midst. In their words, it is a rejection of Israeli policy which perpetuates an illegal occupation that is a barrier to peace and violates the basic human rights of the Palestinian people who live under the occupation. Again, a tribal god endangering those outside the tribe. The Jews, in fact, have the woefulest, the awfulest story of all, about the truth of minimum protection. Some years ago, I sat through classes in a British seminary to fulfill continuing education requirements. The best was a brilliant Oxford Don on the topic, the doctrine of election in the Hebrew Scriptures. In a word, what the Jewish people were chosen for. While he wasn't in the class, I thought Tevye, in the musical, mythical masterpiece about Russian anti-Semitism, put it best: choose someone else. We all have had a slice of minimum protection since the pandemic started, and we are well aware that the only protection is following the best public health guidelines we can get, and nothing is certain. When the issue is, or is in part, whose air are we breathing? Who else's air are we breathing? We have to do our best and hope for the best. And we had all hoped it was going away. Minimum to no protection. But what religion, God, spirituality does offer is support. Support from within and support from without. I know we don't agree on what any of those words mean. Religion, God, spirituality. In my previous years, we had people come here to visit us, try us out, introduce themselves. We would invite them if they felt free to. And more than one said they were looking for spirituality, but not religion. One actually got up and said he was looking for spirituality, but not organized religion. And I wanted to jump on that and say, you'll be right at home here. We try not to use words that are heavy with negative associations. Church and religion are such words for many, and I know so is God. Spirituality seems the least infected with negative baggage. So we have two places to look for support as we journey in our unprotected time spans. The two places are within and without. There are guidelines galore. About a dozen years ago, Martha Mickelson, Snowbird, introduced us to her Northern UU minister, the Reverend Dr. Forrest Church of the All Souls UU in New York City. She got us to read Church's The Cathedral of the World, a Universalist Theology. I know you heard about universalism last week. I'll try not to do that too often, set up a topic, and then leave town. Again, my thanks, deepest thanks to those who filled in. Church teaches us how to see the world, the universe, through a Unitarian lens, and come out all the richer and humbler for it. Listen to the teasing book jacket. The Cathedral of the World offers the culmination of a lifetime of thought and lived theology from one who has been called the leading universalist philosopher of his generation. Here, Church draws from the entire span of his life's work to hammer out a clear statement of his universalist theology, gathering his thoughts on religion, faith, and God in a single volume. After opening with a liberal interpretation of the divine, Church compellingly argues that our country was founded on universalist principles, laying out a firm grounding for his theology. Providing a taste of universalism in action, Church's faith next becomes the inspiration and support for a lifetime of community activism and working for social justice. Now here's the gold in this, gold to me. In a society in which religion has been hijacked by the religious right and ridiculed by the secular left, Forrest Church gives new voice to the power of liberal religion, open-hearted and open-minded, humble and awestruck, in answer to the divisive global trend toward competing fundamentalisms and the dangerous spread of neighborly hate. I was hoping Pam would be here today because in our park group, she kept telling us about the signs in her neighborhood and that they didn't encourage gathering together. Anyway, the dangerous spread of neighborly hate. Church invites all seekers to enter the cathedral of the world, where there are many windows, but only one light. And in line with things I've heard us say at the park and in our Friday current events Zoom, which I'll be restarting next week, we don't want to become another echo chamber where we hear only our own voices and opinions and start listening to people and stop listening to people we disagree with. So listen to just a couple more sentences along that line. This is Church. I find myself guided in my own thinking more and more by paradox. My definition of the devil, for instance, is evil disguised as good. My definition of angels, messengers of the divine, is goodness disguised in ordinary encounters or wrapped in brown paper. I try to be most suspicious of my finest actions, to be most wary of my most compelling thoughts, and always to try to find something redemptive in the thoughts or actions of others. Parenthetically, I don't know how many book groups we can have here. I don't want to compete or take away from any, certainly not the Wednesday group I started in 2009. In September, Ed Prow, minister of the North Palm UU congregation, and I are going to co-lead a discussion of Robert Fulghum's All I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Maybe after that I'll see if there's interest in reading together this Forest Church book. Ed and my book group will be on Zoom, so you Northerners can join in, no excuses. Another book title that grabs me, Two Worlds Are Ours, by theologian John Macquarie. Steep reading, but I love the title, Two Worlds Are Ours. The world within, I think he calls mysticism. I call spirituality. We have a library within us to draw upon. In the back of the hymnal, we have readings from the great religious traditions of the world. There should be another section for atheism and agnosticism. You know my candidate for a reading there, by Bertrand Russell. Ron Reagan, with ads from the Freedom from Religion group, could suggest a reading or two. Incidentally, in my growing up, I used to hear a lot about people turning over in their grave. Did you hear things like that? But anyhow, I often wonder what somebody might be turning over in their grave about when young Ron Reagan gives that ad and ends with, you know how he ends? And we're not afraid of going to hell. I've told you how the imam kept asking me in the bridge meetings of Jews, Muslims, and UUs, what is your holy book? All I could say was, our hymnal has great material from many religions, including yours. In that world within, we have a library to draw upon to give us spirituality support. But we have to go there. And there's always silence. Remember when library and silence went together? You remember that. The library reading room in Troy, downtown Troy, saved my life, my high school life. It was across the street from Russell Sage College. Those librarians, like my homeroom teacher, controlled the noise with a head swivel. Now, like then, it doesn't just happen. We have to work at the silence, and we have to find and use the resources in our stacks. The back of our hymnal would be a good place to start. I had a supervisor in ministry who used to say, if he was alone on an island, the one thing he would want was a hymnal because of all its readings. I sometimes wondered what was wrong with him. But his wife was there. He must have meant along with his wife, yeah. Because we are UUs, we connect those worlds within and without. And because we are UUs, we connect them differently. We can push each other gently, and we can push each other obnoxiously. Did I say that? No. But this is what you're missing. We have to push each other. This is what you're missing. There's nothing to me so compelling, so persuasive, as the cold shower of simple truth. Like when those Capitol cops said at the Congress Tuesday, something like, when we called for help to save our lives and the lives of those we were bound to protect, no military came to help. But when the Black Lives Matter peaceful protesters were in the D.C. street, no military were missing. So we have a world within to find support, and we have the world of nature, of family, and of community. In our UU Fellowship of Kindred Spirits, we celebrate our differences, we celebrate our diversity, and our oneness, our common humanity. We want this congregation to be a place of joy, a place of affirmation, a place of acceptance, and new experiences of wonder. We know about religions where those characteristics weren't our experience there. Joy, affirmation, acceptance, and wonder. I want us to learn together how to do all that better. We know about the minimum protection. We've got to work on and build the support. Our closing hymn is 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. And our willing choir lead us.
Sing me the last line.
We can all have it if I want permission, but I'm going to sing something.
Just the last line. You can look at the tenor.
There is more love.
Okay, that's it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'll tell you.
There we go.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Regina will extinguish the chalice during these closing words. Most religions tell us to look within. Don't forget to look within. What we find there gives direction and passion to make our values, our principles count and change the world together. Thank you both so much. It was really wonderful music. And thank you two in the closet. You can come out now. Anyhow, there's water outside, our refreshment for those who want to gather at a little distance apart, masks on. You know.
Go in peace.